Begin this meditation by thinking of a time when you felt pressured by a deadline. Deadlines can be small, they can be large, but they often have this experience of pressure. It can bring on the experience of pressure. So think of a time when you're actually feeling that pressure. Maybe it's happening now. Maybe there's something you need to get done by a certain time. Or maybe it's a past situation. And if you find a past situation, you can use it as if it's happening to you. You can just go back and immerse yourself in that time, and this process will work just as well. I'm thinking of a situation for myself, actually present, where I'm trying to decide on the final cover art for this podcast. And thank you to everyone who has given your input. It's been super helpful. And I kind of put a little deadline on myself. Like, I want it done by tomorrow. Literally tomorrow. And probably by the time you're listening to this, it will be already chosen. But in the moment, there's this feeling of pressure. In this case, it's self-imposed. How are you under pressure for a particular some kind of deadline? Self-imposed counts just as much. So if you need more time, you can pause the recording and just find a time. Once you do, see if you can be there. Feel the feeling. Be there. See the images and experience it firsthand, even if it happened in the past. So we're going to do the Work of Byron Katie now based on this situation. And the Work of Byron Katie is 4 questions and turnarounds, which I'll be asking, which will allow you to begin to work through this and possibly find other ways of experiencing it. The first thing we have to do the Work of Byron Katie is to identify a thought that is coming up with this stressful feeling, that's connected to this stressful feeling. And so if you have a deadline and you're feeling pressure, what are you believing about that deadline? What are you believing in this situation that's causing this pressure? And there may be many beliefs. Today, we're going to work with just one thought, which is, I need to finish it on time. There may be others related. I need to do a good job. All these things. But for now, we're going to pick the thought, I need to finish it on time. And let's question this thought together. So be in your situation, experience it for yourself, and find your answers as we go through this process. So you need to finish it on time. Is it true? This is just a yes or a no, so take your time with it. You need to finish it on time. Is it true? And for me, I have to admit that it's a no. It's not true. But in case it's true in your case, then answer the next question of the work, which is, can you absolutely know it's true that you need to finish it on time? And again, yes or no. And regardless of what your answer is, let's go to the third question of the work, which is, how do you react? What happens when you believe that you need to finish it on time and there's a deadline? What is the sensation you feel in your body? That feeling of pressure, constriction. Where do you notice it? I notice it in my heart, even in my throat a little bit. and there's a tension in my arms. Maybe even holding my core a little tighter. What do you notice? My feet want to bounce around a little bit. Fingers want to move. And then what's the emotion that you feel when you think you need to finish it on time and you're not sure you're going to be able to? It's very tight. For me, it's frustration, almost anger a little bit, just feeling of powerlessness, anxiousness. I feel anxious. And then what happens to your mind when you're thinking, I need to finish it on time? My mind gets very busy. It's trying to figure out how to do it, starts planning. Then it's not sure if it can. Then I start to feel disheartened. Then I want to give up. I want to procrastinate. Yeah, stressful. So I need to finish it on time. How else do you react when you believe this thought? How do you treat yourself when you think, I need to finish it on time? I'm patient with myself, and I put myself last. I don't honor taking care of myself, or at least I'm tempted not to honor taking care of myself. Basically, I treat myself as if I'm second and the project is first. Need to do that well, and then maybe someday I'll take care of myself. But that's how I treat myself when I'm thinking I need to finish it on time. Like, all hands on deck, forget everything. Just do this one job, and who cares how you feel? So I'm not kind to myself. Okay, so the next question of the work is, who would you be right now, or if you're in a situation from the past, if you're there, who would you be right then without the thought you need to finish it on time? I notice I breathe in deeply for the first time in a little bit. Something relaxes. I start to feel that energy coming in again, happiness coming in again. I'm interested and creative. Creativity is coming back in again. Without the thought, I need to finish it on time. Interesting. With the thought, just to go back to question 3, I was thinking all about the deadline, all about the finished product. And without the thought, I'm more interested in the actual doing. Like, what's the next step? Like, I'm kind of into it. But when I'm believing that I need to finish it on time, I stop paying attention to the steps, and I'm much more interested in just getting there somehow, which also feels impossible. So who are you without the thought you need to finish it on time? Suddenly there's room for me to do it the way I like to do it well, to do it slowly. I have the flexibility to move with the project, which is not always predictable. It starts to feel like fun without the thought, I have to finish it on time. So this is the effect of a thought. I need to finish it on time. When that thought is there, it becomes stressful. It becomes almost impossible. There's like, how do I get to the end result on a deadline? And without the thought, there's this openness, almost feels like exploring, feels like, don't know where this is going, how long it will take, but I'm interested, I'm engaged. And I'm willing and able to take care of myself, take breaks, live my life. So you can see how this one thought really changes the equation. With it is stress, without it is freedom. So how would you turn the thought around? I need to finish it on time. The opposite would be, I don't need to finish it on time. Now, a turnaround is just a new way of looking at it. It's the opposite. And just because we found the turnaround doesn't mean it's true. But think of it as your new hypothesis. Okay, could it be that you don't need to finish it on time? Could it be as true that you don't need to finish it on time? And see if we can find some examples. Why could it be as true or truer that you don't need to finish it on time? I often find that these deadlines are more negotiable than I used to think. I used to think in school, for example, that I always had to finish it on time, or I got no credit, or it was like all or nothing. But in real life, there's almost always room for negotiation. Even in school, I knew people, I never did it, but I knew people who would ask the teacher for an extension. Yeah, duh. I never thought of that, or never thought I could do that. So I don't need to finish it on time. That's one way of looking at it. How else? Look at your situation specifically. How is it that you don't need to finish it on time? How could it be okay if you don't finish it on time? I'm thinking about my project here with the podcast art. I mean, does it really matter if it's 1 week late or even 1 month late? This is like a long-term asset. Building a podcast that'll go on for a long time. Who says that it has to be done this week rather than next week, or today rather than tomorrow? So this is the bigger picture. Does it have to be now? And what are deadlines for anyway? Aren't we just using them to motivate ourselves to get it done? If we're already going to get it done anyway, then why bother about the deadline? And if it involves other people, can't I communicate with them and say, yeah, I really want to do a good job with this, and it's going to take a little longer, but I'm working on it. So these are supporting ideas of the turnaround, that I don't need to finish it on time. But you have to find your own. Keep looking. Why is it in your case you don't need to finish it on time? It could be just as good if you came in later. Like, what is the real need of what you're doing? Isn't it to solve some problem or to create something useful? And isn't it more important to have it done well than just on time, where you had to cut a lot of corners? I mean, we could push the envelope. We could say another turnaround could be, I need to finish it late. I mean, that sounds uncomfortable, but could there be any truth in it? Kind of like saying, I need to do it wrong. How could that serve you? How could that serve others? I need to finish it late. Because that is communication in a way, especially if I'm conscious of it and communicating well about it. But that is a way of telling people, especially as a highly sensitive person, that I do things a little slower, but I do them well, and just don't expect me to come through on your deadline. So I need to finish it late to sort of show who I am, to come out of the closet, if you will, and say, this is who you're working with. And this is part of the reality of where I'm at. I need to finish late. And to tell myself also that I value my health, my stress level, like the low stress level. I value that more than the objective that I'm trying to complete. Or I value it as much. Sometimes doing it late will readjust things so that I'm not handed that kind of project again, or that I don't give myself that kind of project again. This is how I grow and improve in my ability to work and to work in real life, but also take care of myself. So how about you? How could finishing it late serve you? May not be as bad a thing as you might have imagined. Okay, so this is the work of Byron Katie. This is questioning a stressful thought about a stressful situation, and it gets you to think in the opposite direction that you normally think. And this can be opening on the level of experience. This is an experiential process. We have to go through it as if we're there, and we have to find our examples from our heart that are genuine, that make sense to us. But if you do, it starts to balance the situation, and you may find that you're not opposed to finishing on time, and you'll do your best, but you're also not bound by that and locked into it and paralyzed by it. That's the difference. Boundaries, deadlines, they come and they're part of life. But how you hold them makes all the difference.